NASCAR sponsors, of course, are an extremely important part of the sport. They help so many teams get to the racetrack. They're basically the backbone of stock car racing, and the sport would be very different and maybe wouldn't even exist without it. Once the paint scheme is run on track, the sponsors have an opportunity to have a diecast made of their race car or even be put in the video game. Unless you're a few certain sponsors that include alcohol, cigarettes, or anything in that nature that you have to be at least 18 or 21 to consume. And that's where it gets really interesting with sponsorship censorship in NASCAR video games and on NASCAR diecasts. It's of course what we'll be looking at today, some examples of this happening all around in NASCAR over the years. Now in the diecast forums, it's actually gotten better. This usually doesn't happen anymore. The diecast actually able to sell them for the most part with Lionel, the actual sponsor, unless the sponsor doesn't approve the diecast being made. But for video games now that iRacing makes them, the alcohol and all those kind of different sponsors, it's hard to get them in. And you're going to see exactly what they do when they need to make the paint scheme but can't have the sponsor logos on it. This is Justin Allgaier's Traveler Whiskey car for Junior Motorsports. JRM makes one start in the Daytona 500 every single season, and they usually have Allgaier in the car and Traveler Whiskey on the car as well. Traveler Whiskey is obviously an alcohol, and you might be wondering, how do they put that in the game? Allgaier, of course, was in the game in the 40 car, but the sponsor logo was not. Those logos were replaced by Junior Motorsports logos. Now, this isn't the most interesting thing you're going to see in this video for a logo being replaced. Although the JRM logo is actually cutting into the 40 on the door, as you can see there. I don't really understand why they designed it like that. All honesty, without that, it actually looks pretty good. I'm going to be honest, I think it actually looks a little bit better than the real-life version of the race car. And that's rare to say with one of these sponsorship censorship. That's very difficult to say things like this, but this Allgaier car actually looks really good with the JRM logos. The next one we're about to look at is a diecast, and it might have the most sponsorship censorship I've ever seen. This is Brad Keselowski's car from, I think, 2013, the Miller Lite car. Of course, he was sponsored by them for so many years. Got the logos, and then of course the beer on the door, and you might see where I'm going with this, with it being all censored. Because here is the diecast, and oh my goodness, is this thing plain compared to the real paint scheme. Straight off the bat, of course, you notice the Miller Lite logos are gone. They're replaced with blue deuce, which of course means number 2, and the car is blue, so that makes sense, I guess. But then of course the beer is gone on the door of the race cars, so it makes it look really plain. It just doesn't look like a car that ran on the track. Of course it didn't, obviously. And this is heavy sponsorship censorship because of the beer that was on the side of the race car that of course they can't have. I know usually it's just logos, but in this case it was an actual product that was put on the side of the race car. You're going to see Brad Keselowski mentioned a lot in this video, and especially with his number 2 Miller Lite cars. Here he is in 2019 this time. Of course, the Miller Lite paint scheme definitely looks a lot less colorful than the older one that we looked at. I have no idea why Miller Lite schemes got worse over the years. NASCAR Heat 4 came out that year, and as we all expected, Brad Keselowski's Miller Lite car had the logos replaced, but this time, instead of Blue Deuce, it was just Brad. I mean, that's as simple as I guess you can get, and as uncreative as you can get, just putting the driver's name on the car. But in NASCAR Heat 4, unlike the new NASCAR 25 game, where you saw the Allgaier car that couldn't be changed, you can actually do an age verification, which it's literally just typing in your birthday. You can just lie. That's what I did, I'm going to be honest. And you can get the logos put back on the car for all the different Miller Lite schemes that he had. So pretty easy. Unfortunately, like I said, NASCAR 25 and probably NASCAR 26 won't have this option. iRacing just has different rules than the NASCAR Heat guys had. I didn't honestly buy NASCAR 25, or probably won't buy NASCAR 26 either. I've got iRacing, I really don't need it. And in iRacing, we just use trading paints, and we can put any logo that we could possibly dream of on the car. One more product that I didn't mention that they used to censor is Viagra and those kind of things. You know exactly what that does. I don't need to explain that, and I'm not gonna. Here's what they came up with for Mark Martin in one of the older NASCAR games. Very, very original. Just says Mark Martin in a pretty basic font. Wow. Really great job, guys. Now, I don't know if these older games let you do an age verification thing. They might have. I'm not really sure. I've never played them. This one right here, though, is very unique. Usually, a sponsor would have absolutely no problem being put in the video game. It's basically just free sponsorship for them. But in NASCAR 2011, the game, Kevin Harvick's Pennzoil car was missing the Pennzoil logos. And that's not because Pennzoil is a motor oil or anything. All other motor oils are able to be put in the game. It was actually because Pennzoil had stopped sponsoring RCR and Kevin Harvick entirely before the NASCAR 2011 game came out, and after they already designed the paint scheme for the game. And I guess no other sponsor was big enough for Kevin Harvick at the time that wanted to be in the game as a primary paint scheme. So it was a very awkward and unique situation, and the car was just left with RCR logos in the game. Now this example is just plain stupid. Here is NASCAR 09, the final NASCAR game made by EA Sports. You look at the cars here, you see all the sponsor logos on them, it all looks normal until you look a little bit closer and you look that the cars don't exactly have manufacturers. Every single car, no matter if it's a Ford, a Chevy, Toyota, Dodge, no matter what, it's got the same exact body style in the Cup Series. They did this for the Nationwide Series cars as well. And even the Truck Series got that generic looking body style. And you might be thinking, man, there must be some sort of valid reason why this happened. I mean, all the sponsor logos are in here, so it must be some sort of insane reason. Oh, it's insane, but it's definitely not valid. EA Sports was just too lazy to put the COT body styles in for each manufacturer. They already had the Gen 4 body styles, and they decided, you know what, this is our final NASCAR game. We are quite literally just not going to do it. That is the definition of giving up. And you want to know something even funnier? Reportedly, I'm not 100% sure if this is true, I found it on Reddit, NASCAR 09 was built off the Madden engine. The game developers sometimes had issues trying to hide the Madden goalpost inside of NASCAR tracks in fields. I don't even know what to say to that. I think that's enough of this. So you know how earlier I mentioned that NASCAR Diecasts now can be sold with the beer logos, all those other different logos on them? Well, this is exactly how. They have to put them on a base and say the diecast is for ages 21 and plus. I mean, there is actually a way to get the base off. I've been doing this for years. You just got to cut it through the middle and then screw them off on both sides of the diecast. It's a little bit stupid, but I mean, I guess they just have to do it. At least we get the diecast made at all. For some reason, McDonald's makes them put it on a base as well. I have really no idea why. Anyways, that's pretty much all the brand and sponsorship censorship that you would see on NASCAR diecast and in NASCAR video games. For the rest of this video, I'm just going to show some different examples of this happening. Examples that I haven't shown in the video yet, like other drivers with their names in the cars replacing the logos, more no manufacturer pictures from NASCAR 09, and a few different other things. This is the last time you'll hear me talking in this video, so enjoy.